Okay guys, so we looked at the brush and we looked at the eraser tool, and now we are going to look at the paint bucket. And where that paint bucket is right under the eraser, you may not see it because sometimes it shows up as the gradient tool, but if you hold down, if you click down and just hold for 1 second, then you'll be given the option to use either gradient tool or paint bucket tool. The paint bucket tool is essentially like the magic eraser. So instead of erasing a section of a color, you will be able to drop a color onto that section of other color. And here's what I mean by that. So if you remember our blue stripe down here, and with the magic eraser tool, when you click on it, then you will delete that layer, you will delete that color. But instead, now I have chosen green over here as my color for the paint bucket. If I click on that blue, then that blue becomes green, and I can double click here. This is where I choose my colors. I can use it with any color, so I can change it to red. And I need to be careful with this because when I paint it into red, then it might make it blend with this. So instead of 3 different shapes, top, line, bottom, then it'll just become this red and the blue. So anyway, this is a good tool to change colors of some objects. If you have just one solid color of an object, then it's a good way to change the color. So for example, if I go to my mountain layer and I want to use a lighter green or a brighter green for it, then I just click on that and it'll change all of the connected dark green color into a lighter green. So that's it for the paint bucket. So now we will get you started on drawing. So with drawing, the best approach for you to have is to start off with a layer. Well, actually, the best approach for you to have is to start a sketch on paper, and then you either scan it or take a photo of it, and then you drop it on Photoshop, and that sketch should guide you on making a digital painting or digital drawing. However, if you didn't start with a paper sketch, then you can do your sketching on Photoshop. So what I did, I just click on new layer, so I have layer 1, and this will be my rough sketch layer. And how I would start with that is I'll use red here, but by having a brush that's slightly thicker, then I can start kind of a rough sketch, say of a cartoonish car. This is a really bad drawing, obviously, but just to give you an idea of how the process works. So you have that sketch. So now you want to refine it a little bit. So what I'll do is I'll start another layer, and I'll say refine sketch. This is where you want to be more detailed and more finessed. So what I will do, I'll choose the rough sketch again, go to this opacity slider and slide it down so it's a little bit more transparent. And so what I will do with my brush now, well, first of all, I'll change the color to black, and then I'll have much smaller brush. I might even turn on the pen pressure setting. And now using your rough sketch, you can now trace that, and you can have a more refined lines and more refined shape in there to make your final sketch. So I'll just do a real quick, pretend I'm being very careful with this. I'm not, but let's do that, do that. Okay, so now that you have your refined sketch, some people, oh no, I think I messed up. So what happened is I did that on the rough sketch layer. So remember to select your refined sketch layer before you start. So yeah, that looks better. So I'll just do that real quick. So after you do this process, some people will go ahead and start a third layer, and they will refine their sketch even more. But if you are you're okay with what you have to be the final sketch, then you can stop there. So I'll disable the rough sketch, and what I would do, I'll start a new layer, and this will be the color layer. This is where I would put in my colors. And the reason I do that is because if I want to create a cartoonish kind of drawing, then I don't have to be very careful in order for me to stay within the outlines, because my outline will be on top of my colors. So I have to be a little bit careful, but I don't have to be very careful with it. So yeah, this is one way to approach it. How you draw is different than how I draw, so obviously your process will be a little bit different. You can play with the layers and figure out what process works best for you, but that's all you need to start drawing. And next time we'll look at different tools. They're not as essential, but they can be helpful.